The day I discovered what true betrayal felt like, I was sitting at our mahogany dining table with my acceptance letter for the nursing program in my hand. Mayo Clinic, Johns Hopkins, UCSF, their prestigious letterhead scattered before me like fallen leaves. My hands trembled as I held the latest one from the Advanced Emergency Nursing Specialization Program, their words of congratulation blurring through my tears. Mom, Dad. I got in. I got into the emergency nursing program. My voice echoed through our sprawling suburban home, a house that had witnessed 3 generations of the Bennett family's success in medicine. My mom's heels clicked against the hardwood floors as she approached, her face bearing an expression I couldn't quite read. Behind her, my dad's heavy footsteps followed, his usual confident stride somehow hesitant. "That's wonderful, Eliza," my mom said, but her tone carried none of the excitement I'd expected. She exchanged a glance with my dad, who cleared his throat and loosened his silk tie. "Sit down, Eliza. We need to talk." I sank back into my chair, the acceptance letter still clutched in my hands. Something in their demeanor made my stomach twist into knots. "Your brother Nathan," my dad began, "his medical device startup is showing incredible promise. The prototype he's developed could revolutionize patient monitoring systems." He paused, adjusting his glasses. "But he needs significant funding to take it to the next level." My mom stepped forward, her manicured fingers trailing along the table's edge. "We've decided to invest in his project. It's a remarkable opportunity, one that could advance medical care and secure the family's reputation for generations." "That's great," I said, though uncertainty crept into my voice. "But what about my specialized nursing program? The fund you've been saving for my education since I was born?" The silence that followed felt like a physical weight pressing against my chest. "Eliza Rose Bennett," my dad said firmly, using my full name, never a good sign. "We've made the decision to use your education fund to support Nathan's medical device development. It's what's best for the family and for healthcare." The world seemed to tilt on its axis. "What? But that was my money. You promised." "Don't be selfish, Eliza," my mom cut in sharply. "Nathan's medical innovation could save countless lives. You can take out student loans like other nurses do, or maybe consider the local nursing program at the community college." I stared at them, these people who had raised me, who had always preached about the importance of education, who had spent years encouraging my dreams of becoming a specialized emergency nurse. Now they stood before me, calmly destroying my dream to favor my brother. Again. Nathan had always been their golden child, for years older than me. He struggled through medical school while I spent my college years maintaining a perfect GPA, volunteering at free clinics, and winning clinical excellence awards. Nathan moved from one half-developed medical idea to another, each time convincing our parents to invest just a little more. "How much?" I asked, my voice barely a whisper. "What?" My dad frowned. "How much of my education fund did you give him?" My mom shifted uncomfortably. "All of it. The full $175,000. The number hit me like a physical blow. $175,000 gone. Every birthday check from grandparents, every night shift during my undergraduate years. Every cent saved for my specialized training, handed over to Nathan without a second thought. I stood up so abruptly my chair toppled backward. "Did you even consider asking me?" "It's my money. Eliza Rose Bennett." My dad's voice boomed through the dining room. "That is enough. This decision is final. Nathan's medical innovation needs this investment, and as part of this family, you need to support what's best for healthcare advancement." "Best for healthcare?" I laughed, but it came out more like a sob. "Or best for Nathan. Your brother is a physician," my mom said defensively. "He sees medical opportunities others can't. Sometimes that means taking risks." "Risks with my future?" I shouted, surprising even myself with the volume. "What about my contribution to healthcare, my patient care skills?" My dad's face hardened. "If you can't understand the difference between a doctor's importance and a nurse's supporting role, perhaps you're not as suited for healthcare as we thought. Go to your room until you can discuss this rationally." I stood there, 24 years old, being sent to my room like a child for daring to object to having my future stolen. Something has changed in me, my family, the medical hierarchy they worship, and my view of what I should do next has fundamentally changed. Without another word, I turned and walked upstairs to my room. But instead of collapsing on my bed to cry as they probably expected, I pulled out my largest backpack and began to pack essential clothes, my laptop, the emergency credit card I'd never used, and most importantly, my documents, birth certificate, social security card, and passport. My hands moved methodically, my mind surprisingly clear despite the hurricane of emotions tearing through my chest. From my sock drawer, I retrieved the $500 I'd saved from my last hospital volunteer shift, money I hadn't added to my education fund because I'd planned to use it for specialized nursing equipment. Now it would serve as my lifeline to independence. As I packed, bitter memories flooded through my mind. Nathan's first failed medical device, a patient monitor that burned through $40,000 of our parents' money while causing more alarm fatigue than results. His second attempt, a medication tracking system that lasted 4 months before being deemed clinically useless. Each failure met with encouragement, support, and more funding. While I was told to be realistic about my auxiliary nursing ambitions, the sound of the doorbell interrupted my thoughts. Through my window, I saw Nathan's BMW pulling into the driveway with his MD vanity plate gleaming. Of course he was here, probably coming to collect his latest medical investment with that self-important smile. I could hear their voices drifting up from below, Nathan's authoritative doctor voice explaining medical jargon he barely understood himself, my mom's adoring tone, my dad's proud rumble. The perfect medical dynasty moment, complete with their perfect doctor son and his perfect excuses for needing more research funding. Opening my laptop one last time, I wrote 2 emails with trembling fingers. The first to the program, Dear Admissions Committee, with deep regret, I must decline your offer of admission. Due to unexpected financial circumstances, I will be unable to attend the Advanced Emergency Nursing program this fall. Thank you for the opportunity. Sincerely, Eliza Bennett. The second email went to my parents, Mom and Dad, you've made your choice about whose medical career matters, and now I'm making mine. Don't look for me. Don't try to contact me. I'll find my own path to helping patients without the family money or the Bennett name. Eliza. I hit send, then removed the battery from my phone. From downstairs, I could hear Nathan launching into another enthusiastic explanation about his revolutionary monitoring system that would transform critical care. The same pitch he'd been perfecting for 2 years with nothing to show for it. In his world of medical prestige, $175,000 was just another research grant. But for me, it was the final diagnosis of a terminal family relationship. Slinging my backpack over my shoulder, I took one final look at my room, at the Clinical Excellence Awards gathering dust, the Patient Care Commendations, the Nursing Honor Society certificates. All evidence of a life spent trying to earn the approval of parents who would always choose the doctor over the nurse, the prestigious title over actual patient care. I climbed down the garden trellis outside my window, something I hadn't done since high school. My feet hit the ground with a soft thud, and without looking back, I walked away from the Bennett family estate with my heart pounding against my ribcage. In my pocket was $500, in my head was every medical procedure I'd ever mastered, and in my heart was a burning determination to prove they had made the worst clinical judgment of their lives. I didn't know then that 7 years later, I would be sitting across from them in a hospital boardroom, watching them nervously pitch their failing medical group to potential investors, not realizing that their last hope for survival was the daughter whose nursing career they had dismissed so carelessly. But that diagnosis would come later. First, I had to build something from nothing. And I had to become someone they would never expect their practical daughter to be. With each step away from my childhood home, my resolve strengthened like a healing bone. They wanted to bet everything on Nathan's medical devices? Fine. I would bet everything on myself and the frontline care I believed in. And I wouldn't need their $175,000 to do it. The first night of freedom tasted like vending machine coffee and determination tinged with fear. I sat in a 24-hour community medical center on the south side of Chicago, my backpack secured under my feet like a vital organ, watching my phone battery slowly die. Before it went dark completely, I saw 12 missed calls from my mom, 4 from my dad, and 1 text from Nathan. Don't be dramatic, Eliza. Your nursing skills would be useful in my research team. I finished my bitter coffee, counting my remaining cash, $386.50. The bus ticket from Los Angeles had cost less than expected, but in this unfamiliar city, it wouldn't last long. Rough night? A passing doctor with alert eyes and a name tag reading, Dr. Olivia Ramirez, emergency medicine, stopped by my chair, her stethoscope hanging around her neck like a badge of honor. Just passing through, I said, then hesitated. Actually, are you hiring? I'm a registered nurse with emergency care training and clinical honors. She studied me critically, professional clothes, expensive watch, designer bag, the obvious signs of a privileged healthcare worker slumming it. But something in my expression must have touched her professional empathy, because she didn't immediately dismiss me. Night shift nurse, she said finally, her eyes evaluating me. 11 to 7, standard rate plus crisis care bonuses. The work is hard, the patients are complex, and we're always short-staffed. Start tomorrow if your credentials check out. I nodded, relief flooding through me like a successful AV insertion. I'll be here. I'm not afraid of hard work or difficult cases. There's affordable housing for medical staff 2 blocks down, she added, scribbling on her prescription pad. Tell Marcus that Dr. Ramirez sent you. He'll give you the healthcare worker rate. That night, in a small apartment that smelled of disinfectant, I opened my laptop and stared at the blank screen. The Advanced Emergency Nursing Program acceptance letter was still in my bag, a painful reminder of what I'd lost. But as I studied it, a new treatment plan began to form. I'd spent my undergraduate years helping struggling clinics optimize their patient care workflows. The administrators paid premium rates because I got results, reduced wait times, improved outcomes, and less staff burnout. I'd always seen it as extra income for my specialized training. Now I saw it as the foundation for something transformative. Opening a new document, I began to type, Efficient Care Solutions, Specialized Healthcare Optimization and Clinical Process Improvement, founded by an advanced emergency nursing specialist with frontline experience. I worked through the night, building a simple website using my healthcare informatics skills. By dawn, I had created professional business cards at an all-night print shop, spending $45 of my precious savings. The next 6 months fell into a grueling but purposeful routine. From 11 p.m. to 7 a.m., I worked at the community medical center, immersing myself in urban healthcare realities. My hands became chapped from constant washing, my feet ached from 12-hour shifts, and my heart broke nightly for patients who couldn't afford basic care. Dr. Ramirez, it turned out, had fought her way through medical school on scholarships after growing up in a neighborhood just like this one. She taught me about resource management during critical shortages, staff coordination during mass casualties, and how to identify systemic problems that hurt vulnerable patients the most. From 2 p.m. to 9 p.m., after catching a few hours of restless sleep, I built my healthcare consulting business. My first client came from a physician who noticed my redesign of the triage protocols during a particularly chaotic night when 3 shooting victims arrived simultaneously. Word spread quickly among the struggling clinics of Chicago. There was a nurse consultant who understood frontline realities, who could explain complex workflows clearly, who guaranteed improved patient outcomes while reducing staff burnout. I never mentioned my real last name or my connection to the Bennett Medical Group. Eliza Bennett became Eliza Torres, and my clients never questioned my background. They cared about results, not medical pedigrees or family connections. By month 3, I was making enough from consulting to reduce my nursing hours, though I still volunteered at the center on weekends. Dr. Ramirez became something between a mentor and friend, teaching me lessons about healthcare systems that no specialized program could match. You're good with protocols, she said one Sunday, watching me restructure their medication system to prevent errors, but you're even better with the human elements of care. That's where real healthcare improvement happens. The best doctors I know listen to their nurses. She was right. My clinic clients weren't just paying for workflow optimization. They were paying for hope, for sustainability, for a chance to provide better care with limited resources. It was something I understood intimately now. One day, as I was reviewing a small clinic's staffing patterns, the administrator made an offhand comment that would change everything. If only you could clone yourself. Every struggling clinic in America would hire you. The big hospitals have consultants who've never worked the floor, but you understand what we actually need. That night, I couldn't sleep. Clone myself? No. But I could scale my impact beyond what I'd imagined. I reached out to other experienced nurses with healthcare management backgrounds who had grown disillusioned with corporate medicine. Many were brilliant but burned out, just like I had been. I offered them a proposition: work under my brand, use my methods, and earn 70% of the fees while I handled marketing and client acquisition. Within 2 months, Efficient Care Solutions had 8 consultants, all nurses with clinical experience who understood patient care challenges. Within 6 months, we had contracts in Chicago, Detroit, and Milwaukee, carefully avoiding any locations with connections to my family's healthcare network. My first major breakthrough came faster than expected, through a combination of consulting and strategic investments in nursing-focused healthcare technology. I lived modestly, pouring every dollar into expanding our reach. While Nathan was probably still burning through my education fund on his latest impractical medical device, I was building something with immediate patient impact that saved lives today. But clinical consulting was just the beginning. Through my healthcare clients, I began hearing whispers about innovative care models needing nursing insights. I listened with the same careful attention I gave to patients' breathing sounds, and planned my next steps with clinical precision. The decisive moment came during a consultation with Memorial Hospital, where Dr. Isabella Rodriguez was chief of innovation. As I restructured their emergency department workflow, I noticed their struggling patient monitoring system prototype in the ICU. The nurses hate it, an experienced ICU nurse confided during our assessment. It misses critical changes in patient condition, but Dr. Rodriguez has invested too much to abandon it. It's beautiful in theory but dangerous in practice. Patient monitoring, just like Nathan's, revolutionary technology that never considered actual nursing workflow. I spent that night researching, my clinical experience guiding my analysis. Their approach was fundamentally disconnected from frontline realities, designed by engineers who had never managed multiple critical patients simultaneously. It took 2 weeks to get a meeting with Dr. Rodriguez, using my healthcare network connections. When I finally sat across from her in her office filled with medical technology awards, she looked skeptically at me. "Ms. Torres," she said coolly, "your process improvements are impressive, but what makes you think you understand medical monitoring technology? This isn't about staffing schedules." I opened my laptop and began my presentation, my heart pounding but my voice steady. 3 hours later, she wasn't skeptical anymore. Instead, she was offering me a partnership with genuine respect. 25% stake, she said, if you can deliver the system improvements you're describing. Your insights about alarm fatigue and nurse workflow integration are precisely what we've been missing. I countered with 35% and direct input from frontline nurses in development. The technology should serve the caregivers, not the other way around, I insisted. 6 months later, NovaCare Health's new patient monitoring system was revolutionizing clinical care, the technology that Nathan had dreamed of creating. I had actually built, though centered on nursing insights rather than theoretical brilliance. My influence in healthcare innovation expanded exponentially, proving that understanding frontline care was more valuable than any medical degree. Using NovaCare's success as a foundation, I began partnering with struggling healthcare facilities in underserved areas where my nursing experience had shown me the greatest needs existed. Each partnership was carefully structured, keeping the name Eliza Torres connected to patient-centered innovations rather than corporate healthcare empires. I hired the best healthcare attorneys and administrators who shared my vision, creating a network of care facilities under Torres Health initiatives, focused on equitable care. To the outside world, Torres Health was run by a collaborative team that prioritized patient outcomes over executive visibility or profit margins. Years passed. My healthcare network grew. I moved from Chicago to Detroit to San Francisco, always avoiding any encounters with my family. Through discreet sources, I monitored their activities. Nathan's string of medical device failures continued, each funded by my parents' dwindling resources. The Bennett medical legacy was being bled dry by their blind faith in their doctor son. Then one morning in my San Francisco office, my assistant brought me unexpected news. "Bennett Medical Group is seeking investors," she said, placing the report on my desk. "They're facing bankruptcy after malpractice lawsuits. Your father meets with potential partners next week." I picked up the report, a clinical smile forming. After 7 years, my diagnosis had proven correct. "Schedule a meeting," I said. "But use the Torres Health letterhead. Let's see if they recognize the nurse they dismissed." It was time to show my family what their practical daughter had become. The Bennett Medical Group headquarters hadn't changed, same imposing medical tower, same pretentious signage, same security guard absorbed in his medical journal. Now, walking through the doors in my tailored suit with my nursing pin displayed, I was no longer the nursing student they had dismissed. Ms. Torres, an administrator, hurried forward. The board is waiting in the conference room. May I take your jacket? I handed it over, suppressing a smile. My mom always insisted that medical authority dressed impeccably. Today I wore a suit worth more than one of Nathan's failed devices. Coffee? The administrator asked me. Herbal tea, I replied, remembering how my mom mocked my preference for her nurses' drinks. Fresh water. No sweetener. The elevator ride gave me time to prepare. Through my healthcare connections, I had acquired Bennett Medical Group's debt, positioned Torres Health as their only viable option, and now held their prognosis in my hands. The conference room doors opened. My dad, Victor Bennett, sat at the head of the table. My mom, Diana, perched beside him, anxiety visible in her perfect posture. And Nathan, my brother who had burned through my education fund, absently tapped his stethoscope against the table. Ms. Torres, my dad stood, extending his hand. Thank you for coming. We've heard impressive things about Torres Health. I shook his hand, noting the slight tremor. The great Dr. Victor Bennett was nervous. Good. Please, I gestured for him to sit. Let's discuss your situation. For the next hour, they presented their critical condition. The hospital network needed $30 million just to keep operating. Their patient satisfaction had plummeted, and Nathan's latest venture, another attempt at patient monitoring technology, had drained their reserves while failing clinical trials. We believe with proper partnership, my dad continued with that same condescending tone he'd used when dismissing my nursing career, Bennett Medical could return to its former excellence. I displayed outcome graphs on the screen. Your decline began 7 years ago, I said, watching their faces, coinciding with questionable clinical and financial decisions. Nathan shifted uncomfortably. My mom's fingers nervously adjusted her glasses. We made necessary medical investments, my dad defended. Necessary? I raised an eyebrow. Like diverting $175,000 from nursing education to fund an untested device? The room fell silent. That specific number hung in the air like a damning lab result. How could you know? Nathan started, then stopped. I stood. Tell me, Dr. Bennett, what was your biggest failure in healthcare management? My dad cleared his throat. Perhaps expanding specialized services too quickly. No, I cut him off. Your biggest mistake was thinking your nursing student daughter would just accept your decision and vanish into some community hospital. The color drained from my mom's face. Nathan's stethoscope clattered down. My dad froze in recognition. Eliza? I smiled. Hello, Dad, Mom and Nathan. It's been a while. This is impossible, Nathan sputtered. You're Eliza Torres? Actually, it's Eliza Bennett Torres now. I sat down, enjoying their shock. But you'd know that if you'd bothered to look for me these past 7 years. My mom found her voice first. Darling, we tried to find you. No, I cut her off. You made a few calls, then decided I was being dramatic. I looked at Nathan. How did that monitoring system work out? The one you needed my education fund for? He flushed. There were unexpected clinical complications. Fascinating, I interrupted, pulling up another presentation. Because Torres Health's NovaCare seems to have solved those complications. I displayed the patient monitoring system I'd helped develop. My dad's administrator instincts activated. You own NovaCare? Among other entities. I listed organizations on the screen. NovaCare, Efficient Care Solutions, Torres Medical Ventures, and about 35% of Bennett Medical's outstanding debt. The room erupted. Nathan jumped up. My mom covered her face. My dad stared at his crumbling empire. Why not just tell us who you were? He finally asked. I leaned forward. You needed to see me as I truly am, not as your nurse daughter, but as someone more successful than you ever imagined a nurse could be. What do you want? Nathan demanded. Revenge? I laughed. If I wanted revenge, I would have acquired this group months ago. I stood. No, I want to heal what you broke. What does that mean? My mom asked quietly. I'm offering to save Bennett Medical. Debt restructuring, capital investment, and partnership with NovaCare. But there are conditions. My dad's professional mask returned. What conditions? First, Nathan is out of administration. No more diverting resources from patient care. Second, you and Mom step down. The network needs progressive leadership, not outdated hierarchies. And third? My mom whispered. Third, I smiled, you acknowledge that dismissing my nursing career was your best mistake. Everything I built without your name, connections, or money. Silence fell over the room. My dad looked at the healthcare system I'd built. My mom's eyes filled with tears. Nathan slumped in his chair, confronting the reality that his sister had achieved everything he'd failed to do. Do we have a deal? I asked. My dad nodded slowly. We do, Ms. Torres. Good, I gathered my things. The documents will be ready tomorrow. Oh, and Mom, I paused at the door. That local nursing program you suggested? It's now one of my foundation's premier training centers. Turns out realistic nursing careers can lead to extraordinary outcomes. I walked out of the conference room, out of the hospital building that had once represented everything I couldn't have, and into the waiting car where Dr. Olivia Ramirez, my first mentor, now my healthcare network's medical director, waited. How did it go? She asked, handing me a perfectly brewed herbal tea. Exactly as expected, I replied, taking a sip, though I think I'll keep the community medical center story out of the official foundation narrative. She laughed. Are you sure about this? Saving their medical group after how they devalued your nursing career. I looked back at the Bennett Medical Group tower, thinking about the determined 24-year-old nursing student who had left home with just $500 and a passion to prove her worth in healthcare. You know what I learned in that community center, Olivia? Sometimes the best healing isn't dismantling what others built, it's creating something so much better that they're forced to acknowledge their flawed diagnoses. And did they? I smiled, thinking of my dad's face when he realized who I was, of my mom's tears of recognition. They will. Every time they see the new healthcare brand, Bennett Torres Medical Center. You're keeping the Bennett name? Of course, I said, opening my laptop to check patient outcome data. After all, I did promise to improve healthcare. I just did it my way, by valuing every member of the medical team. As we drove through the city, past the hospitals and clinics that had once seemed so hierarchical and inaccessible, I thought about that advanced emergency nursing program acceptance letter, still preserved in my office. I had framed it alongside my first healthcare consulting contract, my first patient safety innovation patent, and a simple ID badge that read, Eliza, night nurse, from a certain community medical center. Sometimes the best healthcare career isn't the one dictated by medical hierarchy, but the one you create through understanding patient needs, one shift at a time, one innovation at a time, one life saved at a time. And sometimes, $500 and an unwavering belief in nursing excellence is worth more than all the medical pedigrees in the world.